And I'm joined now by Mark Weisbrot, co-director for the Center for Economic and Policy Research. He's in Washington, D.C. Thanks for being with us. The Merkel and Sarkozy press conference had a number of details that they spelled out today. What, for you, stood out as the key point?
Well, I think the details that they talked about were not so important as the one huge detail that was contained in some of the news articles, which is that the European Central Bank is considering, or say they will consider, buying Italian and Spanish bonds, keeping those yields down, which would basically end the crisis.
So hold on, what you're saying is
other things.
What you're saying is you think that the ECB has. What you're saying is this is an enormous reversal of ECB policy. They are going to be the buyer of last resort now. This is what you understand?
Well, they haven't committed to it, but they're talking about it. And this is what really matters. You know, the other stuff is just talking about, you know, like the house is burning down, and they're talking about how to enforce safety regulations in the future. And, you know, and they don't even have the right safety regulations that they're looking at.
But if the ECB is doing this,
causes right.
If the ECB is going to do this, or is at least considering this, that's actually a fairly major step forward, isn't it?
Considering, yes, but considering and doing are still, they haven't quite committed to it. They have to commit to it so that these interest rates go back down and stay down at a reasonable level. That is what's going to end the crisis. All the other stuff is really secondary.
Well, what we did here, particularly from Angela Merkel, was pretty much doubling down on what she's been saying all the time, isn't it? It's the austerity, it's the commitment to a principle that she thinks will bring confidence to the market.
Well, and it's also part of the deal with the ECB. That's the man behind the curtain here that everybody should be paying attention to, because they're doing this to get the deal from the ECB to the European Central Bank to do its job. And they, as I said, they could end this just as easily as they want to. They don't want to end it, and that's why I'm not sure where this is going to end and why it's dragging out. Because they're afraid, from their point of view, that if they actually get rid of this crisis, they won't have the leverage that they want to force Italy and Spain and everyone else to adopt measures that people would never vote for.
Is it possible, sorry to be pedantic about this, because I'm just trying to understand exactly how these two different things are going to interact. Is it possible that the ECB would be considering this change of policy without the blessing of Sarkozy and Merkel? Is there a possibility that what we're seeing here is a double-barrel approach in which they're still talking austerity in hopes of maintaining confidence in the financial markets, and yet behind the scenes allowing real action to take place? Well,
the European Central Bank is really kind of extreme. I mean, as compared to our Federal Reserve, for example, which has created over $2.3 trillion since 2008. I mean, if the ECB was just willing to do that, do something like that, you know, we wouldn't have this problem. So I think the pressure is going mostly in that direction. It's coming from the political authorities, even from President Obama himself, who's been trying to pressure the European authorities to get the European Central Bank to do its job, to be a lender of last resort, so that you don't have a financial meltdown in Europe, which is already, like I said, it's in recession already, according to the OECD, and the whole world economy is slowing as a result of this crisis, including the United States economy is projected to slow next year.
All right, we'll leave it there. Mark Weisbrot in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Thank you.